Hi, I'm Mishah Nicoli.
My name is James Steinhubl, and I've been invited by Mishah Nicoli to enjoy her art today. How you doing, Mishah?
Good, how are you, James?
Very well. So good to see you.
Oh, thanks.
And thank you for setting this up. It's very lovely.
Yeah.
So what piece of work are we looking at today?
This piece is called The Mystery Lies Within the Deep.
Mystery lies within the deep. So this is it's a very interesting piece. I like the fact that it's a turtle, and I want to talk a little bit about turtle archetypes and what they mean to people. But I want to talk first about the colors and the texture. It's so interesting. So when you were approaching this work, how did you approach it? How did it come together?
Well, so I've wanted to paint, turtles for a long time, and I think it's interesting that it does feel like an ancient kind of connection. And so when I did the base of this canvas, it was just applying a lot of texture and distressing the canvas first. I didn't have the intention of doing a turtle on this particular canvas, but as I was moving paint around, I could see a turtle, and then I used a cloth to paint this entire painting.
What's so interesting is about the jewel effect on the shell. Now, especially for people that are looking at it through the camera, it looks very, very 3D. How did you do that?
I don't know. I just honestly, I was just looking at my color palette. I love metallics, and I started putting in, I love using gold, so I use gold a lot, but I started applying this copper, and I was energized by the copper, so I tried to use it where I could to accent.
So was this the first piece in the series, or where did this one fit in?
This was the last piece.
The last piece, because it's so significant. I want to talk about turtles and what they mean archetypically to humans in general. Not every human, but humans in general. The turtle represents not looking back. A turtle can't look over its shoulder, right? So that's interesting that you chose it. It was the last piece of the series. Does that have any significance?
Yeah, that actually has a huge significance, and I just met you, but that is like just such a breakthrough right now. I mean, just that, not looking back and moving forward, and is so just creates such space for me, for my future. And, I don't know how you are, but I tend to hold myself back a lot. And so it's just like you showed up to remind me also, to move forward. And I think for a lot of us, so it inspires me to do more turtles with that, that in mind,
They're nurtured so interestingly. The mother tends for the eggs like any mother, like protects them and fights for them. And but once the eggs are ready for the young to come forward, that's it. They're on their own, and off into the ocean they go. So even though this is a big turtle, but even little turtles. So it's neat. I like the background that it's on. It gives that real sense of the light coming out of the darkness, and which is good. It's formed intentional thought. You're very connected to your emotions. What do you feel when you see now? This is when you encounter your work again. What feeling does it
Well, it does bring up um, like that deep quality of the ancient something. You know, even when I'm in Hawaii and I'm sitting by turtles, it's like I'm in such reverence of them because they seem to hold, you know, something so, yeah.
I can feel the ancient, and there is a like almost an ancient forest feel around in where the turtle is. Either reviewing that turtle swimming on over the top of the deep, or it's a tree climbing turtle. It's very interesting, very fascinating.
Well, thank
There's
you.
many images in the periphery, you know, that are fascinating. There are things that are watching it and guarding it. It looks.
Well, yeah, that's really, I just love listening to you. You have such a beautiful way of seeing things. And when I was, you know, 12 years old, I was just like obsessed and in love with the Amazon and really had a heart for it, but, you know, really was not able to do anything, you know, to protect it or whatever. But just as you're talking, I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. So even in the Amazon, you know, I've never been there, but to be able to paint things and to embody, you know, the love that I have and try to transfer that to canvas at least, and, you know, be thinking about, you know, all of the beautiful things there that
It informs your creativity in this work for sure.
oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My name's Mishah Nicoli, and I'm a fine artist. If you are able to go to my Instagram page, Mishah Ocean Creatives, which is also my Facebook page, you can message me there if you're interested in having any pieces of my art commissioned. I have done a number of commissions, and yeah, I love doing pieces for your home specifically. So it would be an honor to do something for you here. You can contact me and we can go over, you know, what it is that you'd like to create for your home and what type of theme. And, you know, I can give you suggestions and colors. I have done a lot of renos myself and decorating. I'm, you know, quite experienced with design. So yeah, I'd be happy to, you know, figure out where the piece would look best, how to place it, install it for you, and help with color combinations and that kind of thing.
Well, thank you again for including me and visiting about your artwork. It's such a delight. Thank you. What are we looking at right now?
Well, this is an abstract called Magical Flow, and it is, I was inspired to paint this because I go to the mountains quite a bit, and I love Athabasca Falls. So, yeah,
This is inspired by Athabasca Falls.
It is, yeah.
You know, that's so interesting that you say that. The headwaters of the whole Athabasca river system is the ancient origin grounds of the Dene people. And actually the Dene people are the foundation people of the Aztec, Inca, and Maya, which kind of links to your interest in the Amazon. It's so fascinating. Now,
that's really interesting because I have for 6 years now been searching for this dot art, and I do a lot of like dots in my some of my smaller pieces. And I met an Aboriginal fellow the other day, and I asked him, I said, well, so where does that dot art come from, you know? And he was telling me about Dene. Like, this is in the last 2 weeks, so
Interesting.
yeah, I really appreciate that.
Let's just pause and turn the fan on. So this has so much interesting. It's so interesting. Like there is corporate kind of high-rise architecture that's right. I see in here. I see fire. I see water. I see two directions. I see the piece is surging downward, but also surging upward. And it's the colors that you've chosen are fascinating. Lots the use of yellow to change, you know, the colors from red to orange and blue to green. You know, yellow is it's sunlight, but it's also thought, like illuminating thought energy. So very thoughtful painting. There's actually, when I'm this close, I can actually see sort of anthropomorphic energy coming off the top. What I mean by that is there are human images coming over the top.
I'm
of the
very
waterfall.
surprised at how tuned in you are to, you know, yeah, just, you know, when I'm in the mountains, I often see, I was just there and I just posted a photograph, and, you know, I think lots of people that have gone on tours and they show where there's a native face in the mountain top, and so when I go, I see that in the side of a waterfall, and I just posted that picture yesterday.
And definitely, and there's so much. There's so many images and faces and people in your. What? Tell me about the setting and how did you come up with this? What's going on?
Well, I was just, you know, there's so many things I wanted to paint, and I'm just starting to, you know, really have the time to do them. And the Niagara Falls has been on my list for 10 years or more. And, you know, I came back from a trip to Jasper, and I thought, well, I better try this, like, because when I'm there, and as soon as I get home, I mean, you're just filled with all of those images, and it's a lot different than when you're home for a while and then you forget about how you feel when you were there. So this was pretty much right after a trip.
This is going to be an odd question, and I ask it with you know, complete respect, because since this is inspired by the Athabasca Fault, where do you stand on Sasquatch?
What do you mean?
Do you think that there's a possibility they exist?
Well, I have friends that are like, that I admire, some of the people that I admire the most in the world. I mean, they believe in those things, some of those things, and I don't personally. It's not that I would be against it, and I totally respect, you know, what they know. And maybe someday, you know, that might be part of my reality.
That's fine. It's just that some of the anthropomorphic imagery that I'm seeing, they're very large,
Oh, yeah.
and that's, you know, like, it's almost like here there's someone going over head first. There's over here someone standing. You know, there's two or three faces here. There's another praying image. It's very interesting. It's full of characters. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, I appreciate that too, because I've been wanting to do totems for a very long time, and you know, just when I got back from this trip, I saw so many images in the side of cliffs. You know, I'm like, well, okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be a totem. It could be the cliffs, you know, so.
But
Yeah.
the totem imagery
Yeah.
is in the cliff.
Yeah.
Now you've used completely abstract colors, you know, for sky and water and mountains, but it triggers that same feeling of awe when you stand in front of the falls. You know, it's very, very high, and you know, there is a lot in here. What do you feel when you look at it now?
Well, I like hearing what other people see too. So a lot of people see fire, and you know, oh, that's a volcano, and I'm like, well, that's really interesting. So I love the warmth in the pink, and
Now, does that come because when are the falls comforting to you when you stand in front of them? The Athabasca Falls, is it comforting? Is it a
it doesn't necessarily feel like this.
Okay.
It's just that I have an addiction to these vibrant colors when I'm painting. You know, obviously I paint a lot of black and gold and browns, but when I am painting color, I love fluorescent.
This is a significant piece. Thank you. It's been fun.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Mishah Nicoli, and if you're interested in purchasing any of my pieces of art, you can go to my website, mishahocean.com, or you can go to Mishah Ocean Creatives on Instagram and Facebook and message me there. On my website, I have, you know, information about my background and how I got started in art and some of the competitions that I have won, and you know, some of the cities that have purchased my work. And yeah, yes, there's definitely a lot more work that I do and that I've done that isn't on my website. And I do a lot of photography. I do a lot of wildlife and nature photography. Presently, I'm, you know, doing. I've had the opportunity to do quite a few bears and painting bears, and yeah, so. And I just finished a heart series also in the spring. So.
Mishah, we have another one.
Hi,
Thank
James.
You. This almost has sound coming off of it. What are we looking at?
Well, this is probably my second piece when I was just trying to really get heavily into texture. So, yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to do waves for.
This is all acrylic?
Yeah, all acrylic.
On canvas. And it is it's basically the beginning of a funnel wave that I guess we mostly experience when we see the surfing videos,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know that you spend a lot of time in the surf with the dolphins. So did you do this from memory, or did you literally swim this close to waves?
No, I didn't actually, but I did watch a lot of surfing movies and surfers, and yeah.
In that whole tropical time when you're swimming with dolphins, didn't you go to Hawaii and swim with dolphins?
Yeah, but they were in like pretty mellow waters,
Oh, okay.
Always.
So
Yeah.
you'd see this from the beach.
Yes.
Because it has a very that you've experienced it, this is real to touch, right? That's and it like I said, it almost has sound, like you're expecting to hear the sound of the waves. What I'm looking for is your telltale imagery that you put in your art, whether you realize you're putting it in just taking me a second because of the texture. But it's what is interesting, because I'm not necessarily seeing characters, but I'm seeing technology. I'm seeing airplanes and rockets. Isn't it interesting? What is there a connection to technology in this piece?
I'm not sure.
What were you doing when you painted it? I guess you said it was your first one, so.
Yeah. Well, what I was trying to do is really get even a much heavier body of, like plaster to form, like, so this wave is as, much more physical.
But I am beginning to see like in the waves. I'm seeing some birds, lots of birds actually in the water.
Well,
Birds in the water.
that's something I've been wanting to approach, is to put forms like coming in this peak here, is having an eagle, or having different things forming at the end of the waves. So again, I appreciate your input, because
I can see stuff like an osprey. I can see
I love osprey.
Isn't that interesting? And I don't know what kind of bird it is, but I don't know the name of it. But I also see sea otters in there at the tips of the waves. So you're thinking about that you wanted to put animals at the tips of the waves, and then you actually did it. So interesting, birds.
Not necessarily, but I will. I'm glad you're seeing.
It's a lot of time in ancient poetry and things that they would write about the people with water metaphor. So they would write about the crowds of their people with, they talk about the sea and things, and they're really just talking about their city. And birds are practical ideas, in the archetype and the writings when they speak of birds. It's ideas, but that are practical and get things done. So even in the randomness of a surging wave as it comes up the shore and starts to fall over itself, you've expressed in it technology and practical ideas. Very interesting.
Well, thank you.
That's I do see a couple sort of random kind of wild human spirit, in the surging up of the waves. So it's these random irrational things that bring up the wave, and then the response to it is the practical ideas, and then the mist off of it is it is technology, but I'm seeing this airplanes and space shuttle type imagery. So as life is, it looks like it's a uppercut punch. It's coming right here. The response is practical ideas that have results, which lead to just a sort of a free-flowing ability to get out of there. I like it. Does any of that mean anything?
Not specifically, but yeah, very.
There's so much here.
Interesting.
There's so much here. Yeah, it's good. I think the as this is the incursion, right?
Yeah.
and then I see the wave as the response, and then that has the imagery in it, and then the result. It's nice. There's probably lots in the blue sky too. Yeah, wonderful piece.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Hi, my name's Mishah Nicoli, and I'm an artist. And I've wanted to retire as an artist for most of my adult life, and I've had the opportunity recently that I can paint full time. I've been painting for years, but it's been just such an incredible pleasure to be able to do large paintings, which is a passion of mine, and to be able to be much more expressive than I've ever been before, and trying new things and surprising myself that I can do them. And I also do photography, and that has just been such a beautiful way to capture beauty and express it. If you'd like to contact me, you can go to my Instagram page, Mishah Ocean Creatives, or my website, mishahocean.com.
Mishah, these are so good. Tell me, just give me a little bit of background, and then I'm excited to just start saying what I see.
Okay. This one here is out of the Radiance of Darkness series. So it's originally a very large painting, and it's called Ethereal Form. And I've turned it into a print, and on the prints I'm adding gold pastel or gold pen to enhance the print. The original print for this Woman of the Deep is this size, and I've made prints and am adding different images with gold pen to each of the prints.
Woman of the Deep. I see that now. Because at first it was, for sure, divine, feminine, earth spirit, but I wasn't sure where it was. But now that you say that it's in deep, it's an ocean thing, which of course I should have thought that. But it became, at first it was very fanciful, like an alternate view of reality, with many decompressing elementary style spirit type things. I see feathers. I see a real honor and respect towards indigenous art in this one, for sure. But now that I'm seeing it as in the ocean, to me it's the microbes. There's plankton there. There's seaweed. There's air bubbles. There's almost the beginning of like an octopus, sort of the head of an octopus. And it's one eye open and one eye closed is very interesting, because with both eyes closed, we're speaking of the blindness of justice. But with one eye open and one eye closed, that says something kind of different, which is interesting. What were you trying to what was, this is very, 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 very interesting. Soulful, and it hits me, most of your stuff hits me solar plexus, or, a little bit of, across here. But this one is solar plexus for sure. This is all about light and healing. But almost like, sorry, I asked you a question that I haven't let you answer, but it's like she's just momentarily appeared in the waving seaweed. It's interesting. Sorry.
Well, I'd love to be doing that. Yeah, you're always inspiring me to do. Seaweed is another, giant sea kelp is another thing that
Sea kelp, yes.
Just want to paint. I
Really?
swam in giant sea kelp, and it's just like, I did not want to get out of the water. So,
So you were finding things there. What when you were swimming in the kelp, what was validating you or drawing you towards epiphany there?
home, yeah, there's just something about being like under the water and just the density and the comfort and the different reality. It's just, and it's amazing. And just with the, kelp moving, and yeah, you just want to just like.
So you discovered the divine feminine there?
I don't think so.
I'm just wondering because
there was some bullfish in there. Yeah, in this originally, like I was feeling, definitely the Aboriginal, like the drum here, and then as you're talking, I'm like, I see an eagle here now, and we spoke about this painting once before, and you were talking about the wind, and so I just always appreciate the things that you have to say, because you really do read a lot of what I'm feeling that I may not know how to express in words.
And that's why you have such wonderful art. And I'm reading it like words.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Now the one in the center, this is, it has, there's so much there. Like there's almost the whole piece is almost again, the anthropomorphic face, right? As you pull back, but definitely what you're seeing a combination of like AI, robotics, a knight, someone, very, well dressed attendant of, something very ceremonial as an image. Again, and anthropomorphism. So there's a lot of self-reflection in what you're doing. And there's a pensiveness to it. There's a poise, but also a confidence and a readiness of defensive and assertive action. It's very, very, very good piece.
Thank you.
What were you trying to? What was as you were creating it? What was going on?
This is definitely, I think, like my favorite piece of like everything I've done in the last 2 years. There was just, it's just such a great experience to be able to like use my, expressing like this while I'm painting and moving and rubbing. This part in here, I was like, oh, I don't think I like that too much. So I rubbed it all off and was going to do something else. And I was like, oh, geez, okay, I'm leaving that. I really like that. And so where I rubbed the paint off, was surprised me.
And can you see the guard person standing there?
Yes, definitely.
Like sort of having his sword down like this. He's got his head tilted.
Yeah.
He's wearing a helmet. Right, and maybe have his legs like that.
Yeah.
Like a guardian spirit.
Yeah.
Where are you in terms of guardian spirits? Is that part of your worldview, or?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you took a picture of one. I think that's what was hanging around you, and it just allowed you to see. That's definitely a guardian spirit. But if you pull all the way back, there's a face. There's a face here. In here, and then the energy system. This is the top of the forehead. It's so interesting.
Yeah, I've had, different people obviously, like seeing this is the head and the body and the leg and holding a baby. And so,
Holding a baby,
it's always nice getting like,
See, that looks like armor to me, eh?
oh,
But
for
I see
sure,
that.
for sure.
But I can see the carrying out
Yeah,
an infant.
almost like an arm here holding the infant. But,
And there's some sort of container here or a bee's nest. Bees are very interesting. You know, they represent like the ability to create culture anywhere they go, and they just do it. They're culture builders, right? In their own way, So this it speaks of that builder and guard. It's very good. That is good. There's a lot in there. There's almost an owl over here. Owls are nighttime sentries, right? So that would speak to this is out of the series, light out of the darkness.
Yeah.
So there's a night sentry there, an owl, and we've got some sort of light coming out of a container here. It's very good.
Oh,
And the fact that it's coming together as you take paint off,
yeah.
right? You're not adding to get this stuff. It's sort of appearing.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, James.
Okay. Awesome. And one more?
Hi, I'm Mishah Nicoli.